Hi everybody, it's the old Duffer again. Hope you can hear me over our big waste oil burner heater. I'm trying to do a bit of work on the old RL engine. This is a 300 cubic inch 5 litre petrol engine that was used right up until the last days of the petrol TKs. So it's been around an awful long time. This one was overhauled in 1979. We've got the date stamp on the side, a little plate, and everything is standard. And it runs like a Swiss watch. You know, no rattles or bangs. We've had it running for a long period of time, up to temperature before we took the truck apart, and it ran really well. And the truck's only done 6,000 miles. And how much of that this engine did, I have absolutely no idea. It certainly wasn't a lot of it, I shouldn't think. It runs beautifully. But I've done the alternate conversion. I made a blanking plate for the fuel pump. But what I'm going to do is bring you in and show you what we're doing next. So I need to get the distributor out because we've got to clean it all up and make sure the bulb weights and everything, the advance retards working correctly, and the vacuum advance, and then put the electronic ignition unit inside it. And we've also got a high power, modern high power ignition coil, and it's converting it. We're going from from positive earth to negative earth. A lot of people think if you swap the polarity around your starter motor go backwards, it won't. The way they're wired internally, they're what they call polarized. They will only ever go in the direction of correct rotation, irrespective of whether it's negative or positive earth. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to grab you guys off of the tripod and pull you over and go through a few bits. And I got quite lucky actually with a few parts, which is makes a change. So right, let's see if I can get you off here. And then bring you in. Right, here it is, alternator conversion, done. On this one it was really straightforward. All I had to do to get the pulleys to line up, and it is incredibly important where you get that in line and not cockeyed, because it will eat fan belts. And if you notice that the fan belt is the one nearest the box, if that shreds, it will take the air brake fan belt out as well, and a power steering pump. So all I had to do, let's see if I can get it on the camera for you, is a little bracket there, which is part of the original. I had to reduce that shoulder by 2 mil, and over here I put a spacer on which is welded to the original bracket, so this is nice and solid. And on the top here, if I can get it in on the camera for you, lighting is appalling, but you've got the adjuster bracket, has a bit of a dog leg in it. I don't know whether I can show it, just about. Basically, I just squished the dog leg to get it to line up, and I've had a belt on there in the groove, man, and it's lovely. So I'm very pleased with that. That was quite a simple fitment option, and the correct belt is B section belt. It's really big. If I chuck it on the alternator, it is really, I'm doing all today on my own, so wobbly hands and everything. That is B section belt, which is really chunky, and it fits these pulleys as well. And the biggest trouble, what people don't realise is, you see there's like a flat bottom on that belt. As your belt wears, it should drive on the sides, and as your belt wears down in, eventually it will bottom out on that. And it doesn't matter how tight you have it, it will still slip and squeal. So people do them tighter and tighter and tighter, like a bit of cheese wire, and then you pull the bearings out the alternator, more likely out the water pump, which is something you don't want to do. So you know, it's always good to have the correct belt and the correct tension. You don't need loads. Right, I'm going to bring it down here. I made a blanking plate for where the original mechanical fuel pump was. We're going to over to a facet electric one, simply because the diaphragm pumps, even though we would have replaced it, if they weep as they wear, they put fuel into your oil, and you won't know that, and sometimes till it's too late. And also, if you've got an electric fuel pump and you put a hidden fuel pump isolator switch, you can shut the fuel pump off against everything else and it won't run. Well, nobody's going to nick a lorry with a 5 litre petrol engine, I appreciate, but if you have an older vehicle with a mechanical, or you convert it to electric fuel pump, you can add its amount of security. So you just need a bit of extra there, really. Right, the next job on here is, if I bring you in, is the distributor, which, believe it or not, was working perfectly, but it's grotty and it needs the electronic ignition fitting. I want to make sure the bob weights are working correctly for the advance and retard. So I'm going to whip this out, and I'll bring you guys back when we're on the bench, and you can see what I'm doing once I've got it. Right, we've come into the machine shop. I had to set up a bit of lighting to get it to focus, but yeah, basically we've got the rotor arm cap and that coming, but you can see, I'll show the camera, points and coil. Believe it or not, that bit still actually works. The retaining clips for the cap have just disintegrated. This must have been left somewhere in the damp, but I bought another distributor. Oh look, water from when I washed it off the other day. Purely for, because this is a AC Delco, for the retaining clips. Also, if I can show it on the camera, this is the clamp. I don't know whether it will focus. Can get it to focus? Yeah, it has, if I can get it right in, little graduations, I don't know if it's showing up very well. But this basically is retained by a bolt through that hole, and that clamps around your distributor. And you want to set this up so that your timing is at 10 degrees with that in the middle, so you've got a couple of degrees swing either side. And this one, I noticed when I took it off, was fully advanced. And these trucks will run on pretty much any grade of fuel. You retard it for low grade, for a lower grade of fuel, opposed to and you can advance it for higher grade fuel. So basically we're just going to whip this to bits. How much of this is going to come out without a fight, we wonder ourselves. Yeah, I jet washed the engine off, used some Hyperclean first. Obviously the intake was covered up and the exhaust was covered up, so you don't get the water inside. But this distributor was in this condition when we got it, and I'm not sure why. Unhook that, which is the vacuum. It should just wiggle out, said the actress to the bishop. Right. Come on, wiggly wiggly. Let's come. Okay, it doesn't want to come out then. Maybe we've got to undo the stator plate as well. Right, take that out, get rid of that bit. And you love it, the way they've brought it into focus a bit. They've, everything's flathead screws, you just love it, don't you? All chewed up. Fantastic. Right. Right, get this out. There was a little bit of a question mark, shall I say, over the conversion kit I've got will fit this distributor. It should fit this distributor. Just the, whee, there we go, don't need that bit. Don't need that bit yet. Right. Because this one I've got here, I'll bring it up and show you. I'll pay for this on my own money, there's no promotion, you know. This is a Power Spark one, and we've used AccuSpark, and they look pretty much identical. So hopefully it will fit with minimal modification. You can run electronic ignitions which use the points as the trigger, and it's a little box on the outside of your you clamp it to a coil or something like that. I didn't really want to go down that route. I've used the AccuSpark versions of these modules with great success. I had absolutely zero problems with them over the years. There we go, wiggly woo. God, that is, come on. Talk to me. Because I need to get, and you read the old manual for these, which always makes me laugh. Just do this and just do that, and it'll all come apart, and of course invariably it doesn't. So take that little screw out. That might be a retainer. I've not had one of these apart before, so this is a bit of a learning curve for me. So when will that come past there? Is it just the amount of crud build up? It should be free to move, this bit. But I might have to knock the roll pin out. That takes the drive off. And then the whole shaft and that will come up through. Problems? No, there we go, get it straight. and that inside there is your bob weights, and they spring out. I'll just get that to sit on the camera, give it a go. Come on, focus up, focus up. Right, there we go. As that spins, the weights inside there move out and advance ignition timing. I think this goes to a maximum of 24 degrees at 3,500 revs, maximum advance, I believe. But I wanted to check that's all free, but I can't really put that back together with that casing in such a disgusting state. So, what we need to do is knock the roping out. So what I'll do, I will go away, hurrah say some, and knock that out, and we'll come back and have a jolly how good look at it. Right, just knock a little old roll pin in the manual. It says that should be a rivet, and you've got to cut one in to grind or sand a rivet off, whatever, and then drift him out. Thankfully, this has obviously been overhauled as a roll pin, which is great. But if you look down in here, I'll get it to focus, 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 focus. There we go. There's a felt pad which retains oil because it's got bushes inside. So we need to take that out, and you can see there's residue of water from where I jet washed it all. I did cover it up, but you know what jet wash is like, and I knew it was coming apart anyway. And maybe I can show you the bob weights on this. Come on, there you go. Get wiggly wiggly. If I give that a shake, they are actually loose and working fine. But that, where's it gone? That there is one of the bob weights. You see it? And there's one on the other side as well, and they are all free. And of course, when that spins, centrifugal force moves them out. And then what happens is it turns, as they move out, it turns this shaft and advances your timing for you. Clever little idea, really, but it works. What I'm going to do, I'm going to go away in a minute and clean all this up, and we'll get back to it. But I just thought I'd show you, you know, look, that is a, get it to focus on that there. That is one of the second-hand security, where's it gone? Yeah. Cap securing clips, opposed to one of my original ones. I have absolutely no idea what's happened to that, but and the other one is missing the top. So, and the distributor I got is for a 4-cylinder, not a 6. So I think it's physically the same size body actually. Looking at it, I think it will probably, yeah, there you go. Try to clean that off. I'll bring that into focus. Focus, there you go. There is a rivet. That is the original rivet that in the manual, so I've got to sand off one side and bash him out. We didn't need to, which is really great actually, saved me a load of work. Right, excuse the very blurred and rubbish photography nonsense. I'm going to go away and sort all this mess out, and I will bring you guys back when we've got, I've got to unseize this bolt as well, because I need to be able to undo this and move things around, so we'll be dealing with that. So yeah, and I will probably use, this is a vacuum advance unit off of my other Dizzy, and that's the one. Believe it or not, they both work perfectly. But as you can see, the one off my spare Dizzy is in a hell of a lot better nick than my original. So I think we'll be using that one. Right, I will get this lot cleaned up and then bring you guys back. Right, freshly shot blasted and painted. We use crushed glass, recycled crushed glass in our shot blast cabinet because we do a lot of bike stuff. And if you use you know, carburetor mod abrasives, it tends to mess aluminium up. Not bothered with the bottom, that sits inside the engine, so we don't want any paint on that anyway. And I've got a Source O-ring because it snapped, it was worn out. Now then, put it back together. Piece of cake. Right, I'll get this on the camera. This thing's got 2 little ears. Yeah, and they sit inside 2 little holes. Just even wiggle it back in. I did wash this out. There it goes. Like that. We've got a little triangle clip to hold it all together. Like that. Now then, this bit of felt is purely to lubricate the bushes for the shaft, and there's no way of lubricating or filling this felt up with oil once it's all put back together, so give it a damn good glug. Especially with the electronic ignition module, we're less likely to do anything with it. Same as well, give it a little bit of oil. Now, there's a top shim and a bottom shim for these on this particular distributor. Top shim goes on there like that. And the bottom shim, funny enough, goes on the bottom. Bottom shim, it's more of a fibre washer actually, it goes on there like that. And this doesn't have an offset drive, so we can stick that. Like that. Now I'm a complete idiot, it is offset if you look at it carefully, you stupid boy. I'm going to go and check that against where the engine stopped, otherwise you could very easily put it in 180 degrees out of phase, which is not the desired result. Back in the jiffy. Right, yeah, just checked it, I did put it right, it is very, very slightly offset. And obviously you could put it in 180 degrees out of phase if you're not careful. So that's it. And you will get a bit of oil run out the bottom. Right, talking of oil, let's put a drop in there on the old bob weights and stuff. Again, it'll sort itself, it'll run down into the, if you put too much, it just works its way down to the felt. Now, to make my life easy, or easier, that goes like that. The electronic ignition module, which is two pieces, this piece and the bit that goes on the rotor, sits on now, like that. Now, because I tend to drop things, I'm going to cheat and put the screws on now rather than doing it in the, with this inside the dizzy. But before you put this on, you need to put a smear of this heat transfer paste. It's white, sticky, horrible stuff. But if you don't, you can very easily overheat the module and cause it to fail. Now, I've never had one of these modules fail, he says, famous last words. I mean, this is used a lot in the electronics industry on high power transistors, MOSFETs, that kind of thing. It just helps it dissipate heat better into its heat sink, which in this case is the base of the distributor. So I thought I'd cheat and do it this way around. So it's a bit more awkward when it's in the distributor housing. Yep. And that rotates like that, so your vacuum unit can pull it around, and that is as simple as that gets. Then take one's distributor, and you've got offset holes for attachment. There we go, those two there go like that, and we have 3 screws to hold them, because that unit goes back in. That way around, you idiot. Right, sorry, got called away for a moment. Right, So that's all in there, lovely, all oily. So it will drain out the drain hole. That's what it's there for. Don't worry about it. Right, that kind of goes in there like that. You need it a bit loose to get this in. Now I checked the part numbers. I found the part numbers on the side of this, and I cleaned the old one up and checked it, and they're exactly the same. It's the same unit. I thought, well, and it works. I've checked. If you suck on it, and then hold your tongue over the end, and the plunger doesn't come back out, then the diaphragm's good. It's a very crude way of checking it, but it works. But these are a little bit of a faff to put in, because that goes like that. And that peg goes in the hole, like that. Then we have, that goes through there. Come on, move round the bus, come on, there you go. Come on, wiggle, wiggle, right, come. They are a bit of a fiddle to put back together. The whole thing's only held in with these 3 screws. Come on. Right, got that one in there. Now, I may well have put that screw in the wrong place, because obviously we've got, get it out of the box, the distributor cap clips. So let's pop the cap on. There's a notch in it, which goes in that notch there, like that. Now, then you have to sort of clip these up out of the way. I'll do it properly in a minute. I just want to see where my distributor cap retaining screws go. So that goes on there like that. One in that one, and it is that one. Yeah, stupid boy. Had to be, didn't it? Right. One of these. Let the goo off, and a little screw. It goes in now. Bring this over so you can see it. That screws in. Get that started. Like that. Now the distributor cap. There's that little peg. They don't have a really sort of definite it goes in there notch on these, I did notice, compared to say a Lucas or something like that. That goes on there and clips on there, and the other one goes in that side where I put the screw. Stupid boy. Anyway, doesn't matter. That goes around like that. These are the only bits I didn't clean, because they look pretty good. Trying to get that in shot. I'm merrily minding what my own business, not paying attention to what's going on in the camera. Sorry about that. That's free. Make sure they're done up and they spin freely. That's all in there like that. Right. With regards to wires, you just want to make sure that they're not going to get in the way of anything that's spinning, because this is a magnetic unit that creates the pulse. Put it on the right way up your Burke, like that. And we have a brandly new rotor arm as well as a new distributor cap. It sits on there like that. And of course you've got the contact. They're not particularly definite fit, but you've got the carbon brush that sits on top of there in the cap, and it spins. I can get that there in the cap. I'm doing a lot of video editing, and see this one made a right mess of it. Right, that is it basically. It's as complicated as it gets. Everything spins nice and freely, nothing going to foul up anywhere. That's the main thing. Those wires can't cause any sort of friction against the vacuum unit, and it doesn't go in that lots. It's very, very smooth sort of operation. Right, if I show you what I mean by there's a little tiny knots, and pick it up on the camera there, and it's very easily not locate where it's meant to. I noticed that when I got the engine going with the distributor in the hole, and this is at chassis level. You're laying on the cab floor to deal with the points, and they just don't fit. They just, the other one didn't. I just think, really? Yeah, it just doesn't fit nicely at all, and it will only go one way. It's almost like it's just a shade too big. But I had this trouble with the cap that's on it, so I'm imagining that one is a aftermarket as well. There it goes, and it pops off, you see. So I can see some slight modification coming to this, but there you go. Basically that's your lot, and that's the unit put in, and that's how they are. And so if you want to convert one, it's very straightforward, and with regards to wiring up, they are very, very simple. You just got 2 wires, negative and positive, onto the correct terminals on your coil, and then you just put ignition live to the positive, and that's it, and it will work. A very, very simple thing to do. But I'm going to go away and have a work out why neither this cap or the other cap, which is the correct cap for the job, wants to fit quite right, and I'll come back. Right, just to conclude there, get it in. There you go, one overhaul Dizzy. You can do it yourself. You can get the vacuum units, you know, on the internet if you want them. I was lucky I happened to have a good one on another Dizzy. I did struggle to find the clips, but overall, I think, you know, it's come out all right. And I just ran a needle file around the lip that goes inside. I just put like a very slight lead on it, and it popped on, and it seems quite secure. We will find out in due course, obviously, but that is it. This is as complicated as this job gets. That's it. Put that. I've got to find an O-ring. I'll put that back in the engine, and when we painted the engine, time it up, and away we go. Put it in the shot, you idiot. Right. So next job is get the gearbox off and get the clutch out, bell housing off, because on Bedfords they have 4 bolts that hold the gearbox on. You can pull it off and leave the bell housing there, which is in itself quite a good idea if you don't want to take the clutch out, and then you've got to take the bell housing off and the clutch out. So that's the next job. We'll get set up for that shortly, because I need to find out what the clutch was dragging and messing about. So I'll wrap this video up now. Hopefully it was of use and I didn't make a mess of the photography, because I'm on my own today, and we'll see you in the next one.